Hi, everyone, and welcome to the webinar from the Brave Zone. Today, we will be talking about proven marketing strategies for the service industry. The reason I focus on the service industry because I do believe service industries and product industries are distinctly different. And I want to make sure that we can focus today's webinar on service, people who are providing services. Now, here's a problem that typically happens. You have a great service, you have a great heart, you are not serving enough people, they don't change, problems in their lives repeat, and the world isn't a better place. And I know many of you go into this business because you want to make an impact. So this webinar is all about how do you get your message out there. And the unique thing about the service industry, at least the ones that we'll be referring you to most of the time in this webinar, is as a service industry that revolves mostly around you as a self-employed professional. I'm sure that there are also service industries that are run with big businesses and big corporations, but if you think about it, these kinds of big corporations also rely on people to sell their services. They may not be entrepreneurs, but they could be your team member. So let's talk about how this unique industry works and why it's so important to be self-aware as the person behind this kind of industry about what message are you communicating to your market. Because in service industries, it's all the interaction between people to people. So thank you for your commitment to your personal growth, especially thank you for using this time where we're all locked in or working from home. Thank you for using this time to use it for personal growth. Here's a little bit about me. Um, I come from 22 years of proven business achievement, running my own businesses, turning around businesses, etc. And this has given me a lot of practical business experience to guide the clients that I work with on how to grow their business. What I do specifically is I improve the personal clarity and belief systems and confidence of my clients. I overcome the personal limits that block them, because some of you are building a business, yet you do have personal limits that block you. And it could be a belief system, it could be a value. I help get rid of that. I also help sharpen your business strategies. I come from building a service business. I come from building product businesses as well, but I have a preference towards service businesses simply because it is something that I'm passionate about. So I combine psychology and business acumen in my work with people, because I think behind every business is a human being that comes with a certain psychology, with a certain iceberg. And this is important for you to be self-aware of what is your limiting belief that makes you ineffective in your business. Some of you are facing these limiting beliefs on a regular basis, and for that reason, no matter what business strategy you choose to have, it is not effective for you. So I own a business coaching business in Indonesia. There are two of them, and now they are running without me in Jakarta. I also author a book called How to Make More Money in Sales. That's available on Amazon. That is not for beginner salespeople. It is for people who want to get the finer distinctions between what is a good sales strategy and what is a what can make it even better. So a little bit about my life. I have a passion for facilitating groups. I have a passion for helping people succeed. I enjoy my current life living in Bath with my life partner, Ron. And I also enjoy defeating my fears. I had a fear of the ocean, and basically I got rid of that by learning how to dive. I had a fear of sharks when I realized that I was diving and there were sharks around me. So I went to a shark feeding dive. Fear of heights, whatever fears I have, especially fears of that, people always have fears in their systems, in their lives and everything like that. And I tried to get the self-awareness in myself by joining many self-development courses, learning from many gurus to really be more self-aware. And I think as a gift, I've also been able to help people do the same. Your success in the service industry depends mainly on you, your relationships, and a balance of strategies. Let's talk about you. You means your core values, your mission, the way you come off as a person. Are you authentic? Or do people feel like every time you want to talk to them, you're after something? Your relationships, the relationships you build in your community, the relationships, of course, you build with your partner, your outsourcing partner, etc. A balance of strategies means this. A balance of strategies is like, you know how everybody's doing digital marketing now and getting social media engagement, which are absolutely fine. But for the most part, many of those things are branding strategies. They take a bit longer. There are also, of course, digital marketing strategies, which are more direct sale. Um, Advertising in magazines, yes, of course they work, but it takes longer. It's a branding strategy. Whereas certain types of other strategies like direct selling, strategic alliances, these are more shorter period of time. Okay, so we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about how you can build a strong service business um, based on these three things. So my objective today is to help you select the marketing strategies that fit your goals, your style, and your strengths. Um, I think also the problem is that we see a lot of our gurus, our mentors, and the way they build their business, and we're impressed by them. But at the same time, they are doing it based on their strengths. Like some of them are really extroverted, they do extroverted things. And then let's say you're building your business, you're introverted, and you're thinking, oh my God, I've got to be one of them. So you try and you don't really kind of not doing it well, and you don't get the right results. Not because it's a bad strategy, but it's probably not an appropriate strategy for you. So when I work with my clients, when I want to work with you, is to help you understand yourself, your style. Again, service business is very you specific. So it's very important for you to understand you. So my promise to you is I'll be your educator, not a motivator. I will ask you tough questions. I will get strategies that you can use immediately. And I will show you how to take the next steps to start implementing the learnings. So a little bit about what lights me up is that I work with people who are self-employed. I work with people who have maybe one or two team members, but they want to get bigger. Or I work with people who are in transition. They may have a great business and they want to move on in another lifestyle, a different part of their lives, and they want to exit the business. Whatever I do, typically people get a lot of clarity, and it's a clarity about their purpose, what they want, who they are. And this is the type of stuff that lights me up as well, working with coaches and consultants and self-employed professionals. So whether you're in fitness or you're a lawyer or you're a doctor, trying to build a business that on your own. And as you know now, sometimes just being an employee is no longer secure. You watch on the news how many of them um, get get made redundant, and it just happens overnight. And it's almost like being an entrepreneur at least gives you some control. So so I want to help you, and there's a part of this webinar where I'm going to ask you some questions to help you gain clarity of what works for you, your strengths, your passion. And I know we can't get to all of it in a webinar, but at least you've got some questions for you to take back. So what we will cover, as I promise, is to narrow down your niche. I will spend a lot of time in narrowing down your niche because I think this is very important. I'm guilty also of trying to do too many things for too many people because I can, right? Because it's like, oh, it's a curse of the knowledgeable people is because, oh, I can do everything. I'm so multi-talented. And then you later discover that, oh, you're not really multi-talented. You just think you are. But it's actually better to just focus on a certain limited group of people, because in reality we can't really serve everybody anyway, right? So let's just stick to what we're good at. There are some proven marketing strategies. I'll go through with what I call the marketing spectrum, so you'll see what marketing strategies there are, and typically these are the ones that I've used. But there are also a balance, again, balancing the long-term strategies with the short-term strategies. And then how do you make an actionable marketing plan? Not just a plan that you make and then you stick in the drawer, but how do you actually get results? Now, just a preempt about marketing. Many people do marketing really badly. And some of you are in this webinar because you are scared to market and you don't want to market and you think marketing is the root of all evil and you just don't want to do it. But I'll tell you, it's not because of you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's probably because you've been marketed to in the wrong way. You've been spammed. You've been sent all these templated emails. Um, so many of you are just really hesitant to do anything like that. Okay, um, so this is something that I want to rest assured that you can still do marketing and you can still do it the right way. The other thing is that now you got to understand, if you're self-employed and you're doing business these days, there's going to be a lot of people in digital marketing that is going after you as their clients. Even the last couple of days working from home, I have been prospected to 3 times in one morning by 3 different digital marketing experts asking me if I wanted help with my LinkedIn. Now, people, I I have spent money on digital marketing before. I've spent lots of money on digital marketing before and not getting much results. But I also know people who do have spend a lot of money on digital results and are getting the results. What are the differences? I think what I want to, I'm not against digital marketing, but I want you to do the digital marketing that is right for you. And I want you, before you invest in that digital marketing, to do some of the basics. It's like getting to know your core message, putting forth your best self, getting rid of your limiting beliefs so that when you get leads, you can actually convert them. Because, they get you leads, they don't get you sale, maybe low level sale, but not high level sales. That still has to be you. So you've got to get rid of all that kind of stuff, then invest in the right digital marketing strategy that suits you. So I'm not here to say I'm against digital marketing, but unfortunately people think this is some kind of holy grail, and then they don't do the fundamentals and expect results. So marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is, to me, a couple of things. Number one is creating a clear message. We'll talk about how to do that. Creating a clear niche for yourself, building relationship and trust, and helping relevant people. When I go through different types of books, I look not only for knowledge, but I look for what is the philosophy of this author. And this is one book that I would definitely recommend to you. Seth Godin, a lot of people know who he is. He is kind of like the guru of marketing. And I like what he said about marketing. He says, don't use consumers to solve your business problem. Use your business to solve consumers' problems. Okay, and this is very important for you because sometimes in our desperation to get customers, especially these times, the reason we're not getting good leads or good customers or great trust in our industry is because we are trying to use customers to give us revenue, because that's our business problem, right? Money. But instead, what we should be thinking is, what is it that I'm building and how does this help a customer to solve their problem? And when you read this book, I do recommend it. Just from the very beginning, he says that marketing has been done very badly, and predominantly because people are trying to just use customers to feed their needs. And I want you to start setting a better intention for yourself as you run your business. Everybody's going through tough times now, me too. But it is not the time to be desperate. It is not the time to get revenue and do all that. Think about setting up every day, and this is what I do every day, is to journal your intention for the day. And my intentions are typically be kind, add value, stay healthy. I mean, that's basically it, It's more about how do I add value to people? How do I get clear on my message and what I do so that people can be served with what I do? Okay, so again, let's start with the right intention, because again, this service business is all about you and how you project yourself. Let's talk a little bit about the customer journey and why projecting yourself the right way is important. The customer journey falls into 4 parts. Before a customer buys from you, they need to know you, like you, and trust you. Okay, knowing you is all about having an intro, have a clear intro and bio, and selecting marketing strategies that features you at your best. And whatever marketing strategy that is different for every people, everyone, and every industry. Liking is that chemistry your prospect have with your marketing, with you personally, if they meet you personally. Catching your personality, and that could be from your content, that could be from your colors, that could be from everything. Yeah. Understanding your mission, therefore your mission has to be quite clear. And mission of need more revenue, need to pay the bills is not the mission that will attract people. Okay. Character is more of your business ethics, is more of your values. Trust is your competence. Can you do the job? Your character, your care factor, your reputation in the market. Maybe some people have already known you. Maybe nobody's been your client before, but people know you. The congruence that you show. You're a fitness coach, but you're overweight. Okay, this is going to be a difficult one. Yeah. You're a coach, but you don't have personal discipline. Difficult. Yeah. You're a life coach, but you're depressed. Okay, I'm being a little bit too extreme here, but you know what I mean. References is the testimonials that you use in your marketing. Buy is, of course, buying it, trying it, and eventually the best part, of course, to grow your business is repeat orders and referrals. So, but for this webinar, we're going to talk about know, like, and trust for the most part, because the buying part is, I did a webinar on selling, and I'll probably do some kind of webinar in the future about selling, but not this one. So I just want to talk about marketing. Let's talk about narrowing your niche to the smallest viable audience. This again is what I've learned from Seth Godin and many other marketing gurus as well. Let's think about this. How many clients do you actually aim to serve? Let's say you do nothing else. You work 4 hours a week, 40 hours a week. Okay. You do nothing else. You only deliver your service. Okay. I know this is ridiculous, but you do all your admin, your accounting, your marketing, your sales, everything on the weekends. Okay. Outside of those 40 hours. Okay. Let's just say that's possible. Let's say you spend 1 hour per client. Okay. To serve them. Okay. Some people do less, some people do more. So that means in a week, you can serve 40 clients. And 4 weeks in a month, so that'll be 160 clients or 1,920 clients per year. I'm assuming you have some weeks where you're on holiday. Maybe some of you say, no, I don't need a holiday, so just keep going. Okay. But this is a rough thing. Let's say you say, oh, I don't do things face to face. I do it online. I have a digital course. I have an online teaching method. Okay. So let's say you just put 1,000, multiply all that by 1,000. That's still 2.7% of the UK population, which is about 70 million. Okay. That's not a lot of people. Okay. So realistically, many of you don't have an online platform. Many of you are still doing them manually. So you don't have that one multiplier, the 1,000 multiplier. Realistically, many of you serve the same clients week on week, so you're not serving 40 different clients per week. So 160 clients per month is probably not what you need. Realistically, many of you spend more than 1 hour per client, so probably you won't be able to serve 40 clients a week. And realistically, many of you don't even deliver your services in 40 hours a week. Many of you spend that time in admin, in marketing and sales and networking, etc. So I want you to do these numbers for you. So feel free to take a screen print or just take notes. Just do these numbers for you. And like, how many clients do you actually need? Okay, before you go, I'm here to serve the world. I don't want to narrow down my niche. I'm afraid I don't have enough people that I can market to. Right, like how many people do you actually need? For some of you, and I know I come from a coaching business, serving 40 clients a year, okay, is what some of the top coaches do. Okay, so this is nowhere close to 1,900,000 people. Okay, so that's the first thing. The reason I want to start with this when I'm talking about narrowing niche is because many of us are a little bit too broad in our marketing, because we're FOMO, fear of missing out. We have FOMO, and we're afraid that we're narrowing down. I'm guilty of the same thing. And that's why I also invest in narrowing my niche to only self-employed people, only people who are kind of stuck, only people who need both a psychology, clarity on their psychology as well as their business, because that's my strength. I mix those two. If somebody comes to me and says, I need a pure business coach and I want you to guide me week on week, I want to build a huge business, to be honest, I will probably think twice about working with that client. One, because I know my strengths. My strengths is rapid transformation. I work with you for 2 to 4 sessions. That's all you really need to achieve your goals. I have a network of other coaches that can serve you with bigger projects. Of course, if you want to stay with me for a couple of months, fine, but we got to have a very clear outcome. I'm not a maintenance coach. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those people that just checks up on you. I'm definitely not an accountability coach. I'm definitely not someone who says, okay, here's your 90-day plan, click, click, click. The reason why is that bores me, okay? And I want to do a business that I like, okay? So it's a combination, not just, of course, clients need an accountability coach, but I also know what kind of coach I am and I'm not. I unstuck people. I see business in different and holistic angles, and that's a lot of service professionals cannot do that. Okay, they have a hammer and everything looks like a nail, but I can do that. But that's all really I want to do. Okay, that's my niche. Okay, so you got to find your niche, and let's start with your numbers. How many clients do you really aim to serve? Second, this is what I love to do. This is how I unstuck people. Finding your ikigai. Many of us might have seen or read about ikigai. It's basically finding your reason for being, your sweet spot. It's comes from a Japanese philosophy, but basically it's a combination of doing what you love, doing what you're good at, doing what the world needs you to do, and if you are in it to make money, doing what the world is ready to pay you for. And finding that ikigai for yourself is something that is really fun for me to do with people. Because sometimes the thing that gets you stuck is because you're not focusing on your ikigai. You're not in your sweet spot. You might be doing what you love, but you're not good at it. You might be doing what you're good at, but the world doesn't need it. You might be doing what you're good at and what you love, but for some reason, the world is not willing to pay you what you think you're worth. So let's talk first about doing what you love. What is the process of finding this? For me, I guide people in the process of understanding your purpose. I ask a lot of questions about your story, your personal story, and what you've been through in your life. What are some of the philosophies that you go to? Then your iceberg, your identity iceberg. Who do you believe you are? Your values, your beliefs. The stuff that's really important to you. And then as you're talking, and this is why I can do it on video call or through your voice, I can hear slight differences. I calibrate you. What lights you up? I use a lot of intuition, but what really lights you up when you're talking about things? Okay, and from that, we can find what you love. What the world needs. Sorry, what you're good at. We'll go through your milestones. Everybody who is going into a business, they've been through some kind of experience professionally, whether it's working for other people, starting a business before, or maybe you want to sharpen your existing business and therefore, you've had past successes. So we're going to go through your success milestones, your SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I'm going to look at what people talk about you. Okay. And so that's what that part of the ikigai is all about. Then let's find out what the world actually needs. The first question is, well, who do you want to serve? Who do you care about serving? Yeah. What is their worldview? What are their dreams and concerns? And usually it takes a few sessions to do a proper ikigai, because you need to go out there and do market research, competitor research. And really with the stuff that we'll be doing in the initial sessions, it's more about identifying a service range where it takes the customer on a journey of trusting you with bigger and bigger products. Some services should be free. Some services should be paid, but very, very small amounts. Some services are ready to be paid bigger amounts. So it's working on your service range, depending on what that is. Okay. So you've got a great niche if you can attract and repel enough people. Okay. The second part is the part that we sometimes cannot accept. What do you mean repel people? I want to be a people pleaser. I want everybody to like me. No, that's not going to happen. You don't have a great niche if you cannot repel people who are not suited to your philosophy, who are not suited to the services that you offer. You just don't have a great niche. You are basically too broad, too general. You've got a great niche if you know what you stand for. Like I said before, I've had enough experience coaching and building coaching businesses and working with coaches and working with clients to know that I am a certain type of coach, but not another one. Like my role in Action Coach Jakarta, when I was still running it, and I was selling, my coaches, not selling, but I mean, don't get the wrong idea. I don't sell people, but I market their services. I would be the one that would have an initial conversation with prospective clients, and I would diagnose their needs. And then some of them I would keep for a while and help for a while until they reach a certain breakthrough. And then I would pass them over to the appropriate coach, which I felt would be suitable for them with the personality that they needed, and also the competence, of course, that they needed. Some coaches were better at structure, so I gave the clients who needed structure to those coaches. Some coaches were better at finance, for instance, so the finance coach got them. So I was always that. Now, so that worked for a lot of clients. They were attracted to me because of that. But also when it came down to things like accountability and process coaching, I repelled people because that wasn't what I'm good at. But that was understanding me and understanding my niche, and I realized over the years that I've accepted the fact that I have a certain niche. And it's a great one because it attracts a lot of people, enough people, and it repels enough people. So it's what I stand for. What's your one-liner is the next question when we go through about your marketing strategy. Imagine you're in an elevator or in a networking event or in a just a party where you're meeting people. What do you do? It's a typical question, right? And you're like blah 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 blah. Like you'll say, I'm the coach. I do fitness, la la la, and then you end up saying your title. Okay, your title, which is on a business card, which could be business advisor, business coach, financial advisor, fitness coach, lawyer, solicitor. So you become this tag, right? But people still don't know what you do, because I trust that somehow you're different. Everybody, I don't believe in competition in this industry because everybody is so different. Everybody brings that special you into it. And unfortunately, just by saying, I'm a business coach or I'm a fitness coach, it doesn't really tell people. So what's your one-liner? And Donald Miller, which I highly respect and highly recommend you learn from him and read his book, has a book called The Building a Story Brand. And one of them is to teach you how to make a one-liner. And I'll just give you an example of my one-liner, because I'm not supposed to teach this stuff unless I've done it myself, right? So here it is. And I'll explain to you why they're different colors. Many self-employed people get stuck trying to grow their existing business. I help unstuck them by sharpening their self-awareness and selecting the right strategies that suit them so they can achieve fulfillment faster. Why? Well, Cynthia, you said it was a one-liner. This is a two-liner, okay? I'm just following Donald Miller. You take him up on that. Basically, let's talk about the colors. The blue. This is the who and the what, okay? Who are you serving? And what are their issues? Okay, so feel free to take notes. As I said at the beginning of the webinar, I'm going to give you some stuff that you could just implement right away. I don't like webinars that are just like selling and selling and selling for 57 minutes. And then in the final 3 minutes, they give you the 5 keys to success. I really do not like those kinds of webinars. So my webinars are never going to be that for you. So many self-employed people. Who? Self-employed people. So does that mean you don't help big, huge companies? I'll never say no if they come, but no, that's not really my target market. Remember, okay, all you FOMO people, if you say, but if I niche it too much, I won't be able to get this kind of business. trust me. I'll give you a personal story. I started my business in 2007, the coaching business. And we were kind of geared towards SMEs, business owners. And I never really had corporates as my target market, the Fortune 500s, the multinational companies, the things that you have to go through HR for. But after, I would say, 2 to 3 years, corporate leads came to me automatically without marketing. Until I never really even properly understood LinkedIn beyond just posting a profile and putting recommendations to it. But if you see my LinkedIn profile, there's over like 60 recommendations, a mixed bag really, from corporates to SMEs to self-employed people to coaches to different kinds of people. Many of what I've discovered is even if you try to niche, people will find ways that you are relevant to them if they like you. People will come after you if they like you, respect you, and somehow have credit, trust you. So don't worry about that. But back to the one-liner, I want you to be very specific. Who are you trying to serve? And what are they getting stuck in? What are the challenges? What are their problems? Okay. Donald Miller, for instance. Many business people don't know how to explain what they do. Okay. That's his blue sentence. Okay. Business people cannot explain what they do. That's why a lot of what he does is really about storytelling, story brand, one-liners. How do you explain what you do? Core message. Okay. He's not a business coach. That's too general for him. He is a coach to help you with your messaging. That's all he does. Okay. The orange, I help unstuck them by sharpening their self-awareness and selecting right strategies that suit them. What is the orange? The orange is your process. How do you help them? So blue is who are you helping? What are the existing challenges? Orange is your process and how you can help them, your abilities, your capabilities, your superpower. Okay. What's your solution? What do you do exactly for that kind of challenge? And then the green, so that they can achieve fulfillment faster, is really about what is the benefit that they can achieve by working with you. Okay. And try to be more than just, I wanted to say, be a little bit, talk about the emotional benefit, not just the logical advantage, increase your revenue. That's a logical advantage. Lose weight. That's a logical advantage. But so that they can achieve fulfillment faster. Fulfillment to me, you may disagree, but to me is more an emotional word. It's not just so that they can achieve their goals faster, so that they can achieve their revenue target faster. No, it's not that. It's about, well, I know that self-employed people build businesses not just for personal needs, but also to self-actualize. And sometimes because of their life circumstances, they can't necessarily work for a corporation, or maybe they've tried and they've been made redundant. So, and they need that fulfillment done in other ways. So I use the word fulfillment. Right. So you've developed your one-liner. Can it ever change? Of course, it's your business. You can do whatever you want, right? I started this business in the Brave Zone in September. And when I first moved to the UK, it was June last year, took a few months off. And then I started the Brave Zone in September. I thought I was leadership coach to corporations, to Fortune 500s, multinationals type of thing. And then I just said, forget this. I don't want to do that again. I've done that for 12 years. I want to do something more meaningful. I want to do something with people that I now really, really like, and then for some reason, the universe always, every time I met people in town or made new friends, it was always self-employed people. Go figure, so I decided, maybe the universe is trying to tell me something. And I do realize that the coaches I've been working with in Indonesia are relatively successful at this point. They've been winning global awards. Our firm has been top ranked. And I said, well, maybe my calling is really towards self-employed people. Instead of making myself the leadership coach, maybe I should help leadership coaches or whatever coaches or self-employed solicitors or whatever, people who have by hook or by crook, they have to succeed on their own. And they need the same resources as big businesses, but they don't have the same budget. Okay, so work on your one-liner. And so I changed my strategy. I changed my target market after 3 months into my business. That's fine. You can always change. It's your business, but make sure that when you change, you've changed the whole thing, your website, your social media, your branding, make sure you change the entire message. Next, your niche is also about understanding what is your client journey going to be with you. You've got your client, they're trying to achieve something. They've got lots of bends and forks on the road. They've got to decide. So finding your niche is also sometimes understanding a bit about your process. Sometimes what makes you different from other people is the process by which you take your client and the competence that you have behind what you do. So some questions that I like to work with people on is who are the clients that they're trying to get? What are the challenges of their clients? How do you help them? And we talk about not just your service range, but what if they're not ready to buy your service range? What are some of the steps that they can make before they buy a big ticket item? How do you call them to action? What can they gain or lose by working with you or not working with you? What is their transformation after they work with you? Okay, so this is typically, I have done this in a 2-hour process. It's not that difficult. Okay, and remember, you talk, let me take all the notes, and then I'll give you your story. But basically, you need to understand this, in my opinion. I'm going to say something that may not be new for many of you, but for some of you it might, so it might be worth just mentioning. Just because you're a self-employed service professional, your marketing shouldn't be all about you. Okay, it's not your journey, it's your client's journey. You're not the hero, it's your clients that are the hero. Okay, it's your clients that want to go to this transformation. You can say a lot of, don't worry, this your storytelling, it does have a part where you can talk about how great you are, all the awards that you've achieved, and your credibility statement. That's fine. But for the most part, it's all about taking a client and taking them through this journey. Right? So that's a little bit about the niche part and how to narrow your niche, how to understand. We talked about ikigai, we talked about your one-liner, we talked about the client journey with you. Now let's talk about some of the proven strategies for the service industry. And I'm going to start with what I call the marketing spectrum. The marketing spectrum, if you look at from up and down this spectrum of marketing strategies, from SEO all the way to referrals and repeat business, you'll see that it's actually, there's many strategies, and there's probably more that I haven't listed here. But the point is, there are strategies of you behind a laptop. And there are then strategies of you shaking hands, kind of inappropriate for the social distancing point of view, but meeting the client, okay? Meeting the client, having a conversation with them, being as close as possible that you can to them. Okay, there's a huge difference in the strategies, and it's also reflected in the conversion rate. When you are applying strategies that are so far away from the client, you have less than 1% conversion rate, whereas the closer you get to the client, the more trust you have, the more personal you get, 50 to 70% conversion rate. Let's make this note. I'm not saying that you can't do anything online. Okay, again, this shake hand thing at the bottom, nowadays it could be face-to-face, phone conversations or Zoom conversations with a prospective client. What I mean is there's that personal connection, that they know who you are, they know you by name, they've been introduced to you by some credible source. There are clients that I serve that I've never met in my life. Okay, and that's fine. Okay, because they may live in a different country, they have connected me through some online thing, social media, but then I put on a more personal approach to them, and then they become a client. Okay, so it's not about physical meetings, especially these days, but you know what I mean. The closer you are to the prospect emotionally, personally, the more customized your interaction with the prospect, the higher the conversion rate. Okay. So again, this is the marketing spectrum. Let's, when you create your marketing plan, and when I look at people's marketing plan, because this is what I do for people, I love going back to this marketing spectrum and evaluating, counting actually, how many of your marketing strategies are high conversion marketing strategies and how many of them are low conversion. For the most part, people who are not getting enough results in their business are using low conversion strategies because that's the only thing that they're comfortable with, or that's the thing they think they should be doing because people say digital marketing is the holy grail. Um, it's because they can't be bothered to come out for marketing, for networking, or maybe they've got some self-limiting beliefs about themselves that make them hate meeting people or fear meeting people. It's, I've read a business plan of a professional service provider. All her marketing strategies were online. When you meet her in person, or even you can just catch a glimpse through her video, she has one heck of a personality. This girl should get out more. This girl should meet people, or connect with people personally rather than blasting things and making social media groups and say, good morning, what's your number one business challenge today? All that kind of stuff. This girl has personality out radiating. And so she started doing that. She started getting out there and she started connecting with strategic alliances. She pulled in quite a number of people into her workshops, and she started making sure she was talking to people on a weekly basis, not just designing, blasting, and posting. Do you know what I mean? So that is an example of balance. I want you to go back and think of your marketing plan, or maybe read your existing marketing plan. How many strategies do you have that is really close to the prospect? Okay. And these are some of the strategies. I remember when I first started marketing my business, it was all about networking because that was what I thought I was good at. I'm a people person, but at the same time, the investment I put in marketing was about $2,000 US dollars. I was in Indonesia at the time, so I'll just speak in dollars. And over 18 months, I made back $180,000 from those kinds of just networking. So 18 months. But the idea that I want to share with you is when you are doing your marketing, I want you to go deep, not just wide. Here's the other thing when you're looking at your marketing plan. Some of you are like, you have like 10, 12, 15 marketing strategies, but they're all done in a superficial way. It's not deep. You don't have you don't have a deep understanding of your target market. You're just kind of doing it. Okay. So I want you to go deep. For example, just an example so that we know what we're talking about, go deep. Networking events, huge, lots of networking events. If you're new at this, go to all of them. All of them. Go to Meetup, Eventbrite, go to all of them, even spend money on them, doesn't matter, okay? But as you're getting good at this, I want you to start selecting 2 to 3 that you like. I mean, the people, you like the people. You can imagine you actually being friends, not just working with them. You can imagine spending more time with them. And I want you to go deep, like be an officer or something. I am now currently hosting a meetup group for in Bath. I've tried many types of networking groups of that sort. I gel with this one. I gel with the founder. I like their philosophy. And it didn't take me long, perhaps also because I'm quite used to these kinds of thinking. It didn't take me long to like them. And then I volunteered to host the one in my town because I know the founder is quite busy. But once you are, once you kind of get to know, let's say you go after strategic alliances, you work with many of them. And then once you gel with a few of them, go deep, do bigger things with them. And what I find is it will take a lot less of your energy and you'll get deeper results. Because again, in the service business, as I said in one of my first slides, it's all about relationships, and deeper relationships go a longer way than than shallow relationships. Okay, so they will do more for you, with you, um, through you, because they know you and trust you. Do it your way, and this is something that is hard for me to explain in a webinar, because I have a lot of things that I want to talk about today. But doing it your way is very important. Some of us get frustrated in our business journey because we're trying to imitate a mentor, a guru, and they could be super successful because it's them, right? But you've got to understand you've got your superpower as well. I was speaking to a designer. She's introverted and she thinks introversion is actually a weakness. Um, but for what she was doing, imagine a designer, right? You've got to be a great listener. Have you ever worked with a designer that don't like to listen to you, but they just like to flash out their ideas and talk to you about, the good thing about her is she's quiet, she's introverted, she's observant, and she really uses her intuition to understand your needs, more specifically, deeper than anywhere else. And I found out she was a psychology major and she understood human beings and how they think, behavior. She did anthropology as well, and she understood all that. And I said, "Oh my God, you're an expert in human-centric design." And then she told me a few of the projects and why the clients stuck to her. And then what I formed with her is, I passed her, Susan Cain's video about the power of the introvert. She wrote later a book called Quiet, which is the, after reading and listening to her, I want to be an introvert. It's so good. But she realized, when I asked her what was the effect of coaching, she realized that it was okay to be her. It was actually great to be her in her industry, and this is how she found her way. Actually, there she is. She said that I helped her create a stronger connection between her and her business. She felt like this is her personality is in the business now. She's not trying to make a business by being somebody else. Okay, and I think that's really important in a service business because pretending to be somebody you're not is quite tiring. Okay, so and then what you'll find is you start attracting clients who feel that they're going to get A, but then actually they meet you and they get B. That's not a good way to start. Let's, I want to wrap up a little bit, but it's talking about creating an actionable marketing plan. The best marketing plan is in the form of a calendar. Okay, this is something that somebody taught me and it really, really resonated with me. And my business partner is very good with this. And he helped me think about this question every time I want to make a plan. What needs to happen before this? So let's say my marketing plan is to have a strategic alliance with XYZ Bank that will help me market my services to their business clients. Okay, that's the result, by the way. That's not the strategy. That's a result. But what needs to happen right before they are marketing me to their business clients? Well, we may need to have an event together. Well, okay, what needs to happen before we have an event together? Well, that means we need to make brochures about the event and market it to people. Right, what needs to happen before making brochures? Well, that means we need to have that conversation that we are going to work together. Great, what needs to happen before that? Well, then I need to find or agree with the bank that we are going to work together, and I, maybe shortlist a few banks. Right, so before that, what happens? Oh, I need to contact them, or I need to have a list of potential strategic alliances that I want to work with. So when you talk about, one of the reasons it's hard to execute a plan that is vague is because everything in your plan is a result. You have no idea. And sometimes what I do with my clients is I make them do a timeline. Okay, so let's say today you're at the top of that list. You have nothing, you have no relationships, you have no meetings yet, nobody's talked about any events. You have a list. You've made a list of 20 top banks that you want to work with. Then this is, the 24th of March. Then what is the realistic time where you can get all those appointments in line? And then what is the realistic time that they'll respond to you? And you'll see that actually implementing one strategy takes 3 to 4 months. Okay, so then you start realizing when you've got this calendar of how this plan, this idea of yours is actually going to execute, how long it would actually take, then you start realizing that some strategies take shorter times. Some strategies take huge long times. Okay, sometimes, let's say I want to, my strategy is to build a business and I only want huge, big corporates as my clients. Guess what, guys? You're going to have a long selling cycle than someone who's maybe going out to speak to directly to the decision makers, because the bigger the organization is, the more you're going to sometimes be taken around and around to the decision making meetings. Okay, so you're going to also, let's say my goal is to get 10 clients of this type. Then you have to wonder, well, what needs to happen before this? What needs to happen before that? And before you know it, it's 6 months. Then you're questioning your need for cash. Okay, what is the balance between getting that big client and getting a smaller client that may be able to make a decision within a few weeks? Okay, so again, best marketing calendar plan is in the form of calendar. This is what I look at when I look at your marketing plan. Is it vague? Is it in the form of calendar? Okay. Life is short. Do stuff that matters. What are your high impact strategies? Okay, I was working with a Bristol-based life coach, and she loves doing lots of things, and it's easy for her to get distracted. But what finally I did, after I realized who I was, what she was like, after a few weeks of really not being satisfied with her progress, I made her email me every Sunday a list of some numbers based on 5 high impact activities. I realized that in between our coaching sessions, she was not doing high impact activities. She was doing things that really wasn't really important, but it was because she liked it, and because it was, she came from an IT background and she enjoyed doing this and that, but it was fiddling. It wasn't really high impact strategies. And then so she started measuring it, and she started actually focusing on the strategies that matter. The right strategies done consistently with quality will get results. Okay, so it's all about picking the right strategies. So you have to understand yourself, understand your market, understand what you're trying to do, pick the right strategies for you. And it doesn't always have to be the same ones as what other people are doing. Do it consistently. So that's what the calendar is also doing. It's important. And do it with quality. As a service professional, quality comes with practice. Quality comes, as Malcolm Gladwell says, 10,000 hours of practice. This is why I always like to work with people who are quite established and they know what they're doing. It may be your first year in business, but you know what you do. It's very difficult, in my opinion, to be in a service business if you are kind of just new and starting out and trying to figure things out, because quality is important. Okay, so I would definitely make sure you are in the business where you can deliver quality. So from this quote, I want to ask you a few questions. What are your high impact strategies? Okay, let's have a look at them. How do you maintain that consistency? Who's going to remind you of what, or how are you going to remind yourself? Should you do them or outsource them? What's going to get you the best quality? Okay, so these are the questions. And be ready for changes. I mean, we all know over the last couple of weeks, changes do happen. We had a goal. We had a plan. We were in the middle of executing it, and we were expecting great results. And then, bam, this stuff happens. The results doesn't change. The results, it didn't happen. So what do? Sometimes in crisis situation, yes, you may have to revise the goal. But to me, goal achievement is sometimes beyond your control. I like to just revise the plan. Okay. The idea here is, it's not just because you didn't achieve a result doesn't mean you have to change your entire goal. You can achieve your goal, but in other ways. Okay. Be creative about revising the plan. Who's keeping you accountable? You've got a friend, you've got children, they're great at accountability. How are you going to get yourself accountable? Are you going to have an accountability coach, or is it just a calendar reminder? How do you keep yourself accountable? And you'll see that it's so easy to keep yourself accountable if your marketing plan is a calendar. If your marketing plan is a bunch of vague strategy and concepts and ideas, it's hard. It's hard to keep yourself accountable. But if you've got, creating a strategic alliance. And this is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and everything has pretty much estimated dates. You can keep yourself accountable because it's so specific. Okay, so make it easier for that accountability by being specific. Right, so I'm just going to wrap up here. What don't you see? I'm going to offer you a 30-minute discovery session. You know, I know that this is tough times for a lot of people. So I'm not here only to sell you stuff that is chargeable. This is completely no obligation. I want to talk to you, especially if you've invested time with this webinar with all of us, and I appreciate that. I want to help you. And you'll find that in my discovery sessions, you don't just see me talk about things and holding back on advice until you pay me for something. You will find that dealing with me is quite different. You'll find that I do help you in the 30-minute discovery session. But if there is a need for a different session, it's usually because 30 minutes is quite a short time. And also, I don't want to give bad advice because I don't understand the entirety of your business. You know, I'm not here to give bad advice. I'm not here to give wrong guidance. Some things we do need to work in more detail. Okay, but I believe that if you just book a 30-minute discovery session on this email, you will get enough to just get more clarity than when you started with. Okay, so I do want to help you guys in this period. Please do take advantage of this. For those of you who want to know my superpower, I guess, I'm known to be quite, I see business from different angles, the psychology angle, and also in the business side. So I don't just have one tool and everything looks like one solution. I do look at your psychology, I look at your business strategy, and I combine that. This is also because I've had 22 years of leading, turning around businesses, and building a business of my own, and coaching businesses. Okay, so it's quite widespread. You can talk to me about everything. Okay, and I'll tell you if I don't know. I'm quite honest that way. And I'm quite concise. I like rapid transformation. I like doing things quickly, sometimes a little bit too quickly. But you'll get some insight. Don't worry about that. You'll get lots of insight. And I'm quite honest. I'll tell you experiences. I can share with you stuff that doesn't work. Okay, I'll share with you the times I've wasted money and time, and you can open up to me. And of course, all this session will be quite confidential. So some of you are saying, oh, I need more than that. I need a marketing plan, my marketing plan to be sharpened. Okay, this is what's going to happen. If you want this kind of service, I'm going to ask you to send me information about your business or an existing business plan or whatever you're doing, information way before the call. At least give me a couple of days to read it. So I will be doing some work even before the session. I will review your business strategies. Okay. Then during the session, we will reveal some of your blind spots, review some of the things that I think you could have done better. Think about this, think about that, ask you a few tough questions, obviously. Right? I might actually even do that. If I get your business plan or information early enough, I can actually write you an email so that we get into the session quickly and we don't waste any time doing intros and stuff. The objective is really to sharpen your niche and your uniqueness. Okay, we are in a service business. This is a business of you being you. Okay, so it's important for you to understand what you bring to the game, what you bring to your business, and how should you niche yourself? How should you attract and repel enough people? Throughout the conversation, in my experience, you will start showing me some of your limiting beliefs through your language, through your tone, to whatever it is, to your body language. Okay, and we are going to have enough time to actually question those and start releasing that. And then, of course, I will send you off with some action steps to move you forward. We'll probably just discover all that together anyway because of all the questions I'll be equipping you with. This is a paid-for service. It is 90-minute session. Yeah, I usually charge £150, excluding VAT for that. But for the webinar participants, it is £98. And this is something of a reduced price for me to help you through the process. So if you think that £98 is worthwhile for you to spend 90 minutes with me personally, as well as having me spend a couple of hours reviewing your existing strategies beforehand. If you think clarity is worth £98, if you think that understanding yourself, overcoming your limiting beliefs is worth all that, let me know. You can email me at cynthia@thebravezone.com or live@thebravezone.com, and we can start the conversation and start the sessions. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure serving you today. And I will be moving my webinars to a weekly basis. I will be conducting a webinar next week, Tuesday as well, and you will get invitation. The webinar will focus on 5 thinking patterns that maintain your mental health during when business is tough. The reason why it is important for you to attend that webinar is because we're talking about the health of your business all the time. But I know in a self-employed business, we often associate ourselves with our business, sometimes a little bit too much personal attachment. So this is more of a psychology kind of seminar, a webinar, because I want to make sure that I also help you maintain yourself, not just your business. So I'll send you more information about that. It's been a pleasure serving you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.